Hello, welcome back if you are new here. My name is Alexis. I am a disabled powerlifter from Pennsylvania and a Buff Bunny Collection exclusive athlete. I recently became the community advisor slash communicator for the Buff Bunny Collection Instagram broadcast channel. So if y'all have not joined that yet, please head over to the Buff Bunny Collection Instagram page where you can find the link to the broadcast channel. It's going to be a really fun general broadcast channel where different announcements for Buff Bunny Collection, upcoming collections, collaborations, launches, and even some communication on customer feedback for different fits, different styles, and colorways that customers want to receive. So if you can, please head over there, and there are some fun giveaways and things in place for the rest of the year, and I'm excited to have our community grow and have the communication be a little bit more streamlined through there. I feel like I have to give y'all a little bit of an update on myself because you haven't seen me do any review videos or any, really big promotion for the Buff Bunny Collection on YouTube and really on my page for a little bit. So I did get married in May to my best friend, and leading up to the wedding, I knew that family was going to be a really hard subject for me. I didn't think it was going to hit me as emotionally hard as it did. And post-wedding, my husband and I had a lot of things that came up. There was funerals, there was friends that were in really bad situations that needed help. There were other friends who were moving, and then there were all the family responsibilities. I have 3 severely disabled foster brothers that I'm co-guardian of with my state. We don't have parents, and I'm that advocate for my 3 brothers. I think with a lot of government budget cuts and in-home health care, assistive living, things that are shifting, it was just a lot for me to process right after my wedding, and just not being good in my own soul and then constantly giving to other people when my cup's pretty empty and I just had drops left. It was a lot. There were a lot of means of concern for Buff Bunny Collection right after my wedding. There was supposed to be a collaboration collection, and there was just a lot going on where I felt triggered and very conflicted for what all was going on with our community, our customers' concerns, how the customers handled it, how the Buff Bunny Collection team handled it. And I just reached out to the team and said, right now, I'm just not in it. I don't feel comfortable promoting this. It's just not where I need to be, and my headspace is not great. Also, my hormones have been so out of whack. My acne has just been so bad, which is just a physical testament to how out of whack I have been emotionally and mentally. And said, I need to take a break. I don't know if that means me dropping from exclusive to affiliate, but I want to be honest with you, right now I can't. As an exclusive athlete, you are under contract, so to keep up with the contractual requirements was also something in the back of my head where I play by the rules, I play by the book. So I'm not going to do anything that would detriment my abilities to work with the company. However, I also need to stay true to myself and take care of myself. So the team was really awesome and granting me a little break. So I'm really glad that the company was able to afford me that mental health break from social media and really just focus on the things that I needed to focus on, which were processing my family issues and truthfully advocating for public assistant programs to continue, because it's one thing to make a decision on something based off of your knowledge and your experience, and it's another thing to look at a program and just look at the numbers and make those cuts. And I think people need to realize that every action has a reaction and a consequence, and having budgetary cuts on people's livelihood, it really does affect how people live. So it was a lot. Personally, I also had issues changing my last name legally. There was immigration stuff in there that I didn't know my adoptive parents didn't finish, and it was a lot. So I had to explain this to y'all because I think a lot of people were asking, hey, how come you didn't promote this, that, and the third? And I just really needed a break. So I apologize. I know that some of y'all really value the content that I put out there in the reviews. And, I'm sorry that I couldn't give you all the answers that you were looking for, but I hope that you understand I needed a break, and I'm much better now. I'm back and ready to give you a good review on the Strong AF collection. Okay, so today I will be reviewing the Strong AF collection, which is actually another collaboration with the beautiful, talented, multifaceted, super funny Bailey Stewart, who is a Buff Bunny Collection affiliate who has been with the brand for several years, but she is one of the most prolific athletic wear models in the industry. Bailey is highly intelligent and very well understanding in the female body, and also she is the glute queen. So she works very hard at the body that she has built, and she wants every woman to accentuate their voluptuous curves. I think the Miracle Seamless, which is really the star of the show for this collection, just emulates her fun pizzazz, her confidence in being sexy and strong, and all the beautiful colorways, I think, is just very her. So I'm excited to present this one to y'all. As always, I do a bent over test wearing dark printed colored underwear, and I do this in order for y'all to get the truest squat sheerness test, because we work hard for our money and these items are a little bit pricey. This is a luxury athletic wear brand company, and I want y'all to know exactly what you are getting and to be completely transparent. So here we go. You can also head over to my Instagram page for the Strong AF collection. I did decide to do a lot more wear testing before filming and editing. As always, my measurements will be listed below in the description box, and there are timestamps. That way you can skip around to your favorite items being reviewed. And if you would like to show me some support, you can leave a like, comment, or share this review. Really appreciate y'all being here and taking an interest in my reviews. So in my time off from promoting Buff Bunny collection, I really thought about what stresses me out the most with making content and doing the review videos. What is something that I really love? And I have to be completely honest, when I am doing these review videos, I think people appreciate the up-close perspective, and I want to give that to y'all. So I technically do 2 reviews in one, if you really think about it. So in terms of the timing that it takes to film all of the up-close and then the try-on, and then the talking segments, then to edit those on my own, to add in the text box, to add in the actual description for YouTube and make a thumbnail and all that, I typically spend about 17 hours of editing. And that's not including getting glammed up, taking photos for the Instagram post, the time it takes to make the reels. So it always cracks me up, because I used to think, oh, these girls are just naturally cute, they can sell anything, they just have that, za. And I always used to think they get all these like cool clothes for free. It's not free for the amount of time it takes for this Sony ZV-1 camera I purchased, for the tripod, for the lights, for membership, whatever, to the CapCut Premium, for the, yeah, I just got a new laptop, it's refurbished, but for the iPad that I had, for the external hard drive, it's not cheap, right? It takes money to make money in this industry. So there's a lot of work and a lot of hours that go into making a review video. And I started really thinking about it, like, I don't want to keep doing around 20 hours of editing and filming and doing all that. It's just not something that I can do long term. I have decided to not be so anal, and I'm playing around with different styles of how I want to do editing. So just be aware that my videos may not be as high quality and analytical as I usually do them, but for my mental health and my time constraints, because I do work, serve on multiple disabled athlete committees, trying to bring more like inclusivity and disabled sports equality to the plate, as well as being an advocate and, co-guardian to my disabled brothers and my own personal life. I think, quite honestly, I just don't have the time anymore, and I don't have the energy to do that. I'm constantly feeling like my workouts, I'm so limited with time, and I want to move away from that. So I hope that y'all understand where I'm coming from, and just try to support me if you can and if you feel fit. So thank y'all so much. I really appreciate all of the support that you can lend. Just using my athlete code Lexi at checkout on any Buff Bunny collection purchase will help save you 10%, but it'll also make me a little bit of commission and show the team that my support is there, or my support is growing as an exclusive athlete. And there is a cap that you have to reach. You have to have at least X amount of sales using your athlete code to keep you at that exclusive athlete status. So if y'all could help me out, I appreciate it. Or, just make sure you do a little research and look at the different Buff Bunny collection exclusive athletes and affiliates that are constantly shared on the Buff Bunny collection Instagram page, and find the model that really resonates with you, whether it be fit, size, ethnicity, abilities, or just personality wise, and support them. If you want to support me, please leave a like, comment, share this video, and without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have the Halter Seamless Sports Bra. It says short line cut, but I would actually consider this a long line cinch front design that is stretchy, different forms of the seamless fabric. So here it's flat, here it is more ribbed, and it is a size difference. Here it's shorter, here it's a little bit wider. Bottom band is almost like an inverted V a little bit, because in the front it is short, but then on the side it's a lot wider. So if I match it up here, you can see the length difference. It has a nice 4-way stretch to it. It is that fabric folded onto itself and sewn all throughout the lining of the bra. The inside, that stitch quality is nice and soft and smooth. The long line is the seamless fabric simply folded in half. The straps themselves are really nice. Turn them on the other side, they're nice and brushed. And you have, I want to say maybe metal hardware, so that way you can adjust the length of the strap. And we have these hook and loops throughout the bottom of the bra. I don't think that there's an elastic band in here. The details on the inside. The center seam really does act like a bra shelf separator. It does come with bust pads that are removable from slit on the side. This is the original seamless halter sports bra that we saw in the No Filter collection, which was Catherine Mueller's collaboration. This is a short line sports bra compared to this, which is much longer in length below the bust. And then the back strap for both of them, I think, is also the same size. Yeah, pretty much the same size. There's definitely a difference in the rise height. That back band is quite a bit shorter in height. Same hook and loop closures with the adjustable strap from the Vita collection. The midline. The Vita one doesn't have stitch seam that runs all throughout the bottom. I would say it's more of a light to medium support sports bra, whereas this one I think is going to be more of a full medium because it does have that stitch seam on the bottom. But the Wonder Seamless Sports Bra band is probably more of a midline, so this is going to have a lot more coverage for you. My measuring tape somehow got like crazy bent and I can't really bend it back very well, so I'm going to measure from 1 to wherever and then just subtract from there. But so the bottom band length is coming in at about 1.5 inches, roughly 5.5 inches, so 6.5 inches, again at about 3 inches, again less than an inch wide. I do think straight on this is flattering because you have a kind of deep V for the chest. I have a wide upper body frame and a flatter chest profile, so I think this deep V is very flattering. Also, that rouging or like bunching in the center, it's not very stretchy, so it does add on just a little bit of like shaping ability, which I think is nice. The underbust like fabric is nice, but it does roll up on me quite a bit because I don't have a lean body type. I'm squishy. So with the jump test, I would say light to medium compression and support. Here it is from the side profile. Not an excellent amount of lat coverage. The band that goes all the way around, I notice it rolling up even in the back. I do like that it's a little bit taller compared to what we saw from the No Filter collection sports bra. So the fit update is better. I have a long torso and my boobs aren't perky, so they sit a little bit lower. And because they sit a little bit lower, that strap has a little bit more tension to it, so it pulls on my neck. So I do notice that this is just a little bit tight on my neck, but that's probably because of my body type. So this is kind of something to keep in mind. If you're really sensitive with halters on your neck, this may not be the right bra for you. This is going to wick away sweat pretty good because seamless fabric is a lighter weight fabric. It is not like dense and warm to the feel like other fabrics, Nubray or Poshnit from BUFFBUNNY collection. I think it is going to show a little bit of sweat because it's a lighter color, but if you get like the charcoal, I don't think it would be as apparent. Seamless fabric does snag and it can have a run in it like it's a stocking, so just kind of be careful that you don't brush it up against anything. I do think that this is large and small bust friendly. However, if you have a much larger bust, you're going to have quite a bit of cleavage. There's going to be a little bit of side boob action for you. For me, because I have a flat chest, it's not a big deal, but if you have a larger chest, you're going to show off a lot more, and this isn't really a full coverage bra. And in terms of sizing, I do think that this is true to size. I would not recommend sizing down because I personally think that that band with it rolling up, it just creates more compression, and I think it fits fine, but if you were to size down, it would dig into your back and dig into you. And if you were to size up, I don't think that you would have as much support, but you could try it out and see. So overall, I'm going to have to rank this a 8.5 out of 10. And the reason why this loses 3 half points for me and my personal preferences is because number one, the bottom band that really goes into the back, it just doesn't fit super well. It rolls up quite a bit because the seamless fabric is susceptible to that. And then number two, it doesn't have a great amount of lat coverage, as you can see there. The third thing I'm not in preference for is how tight the halter is. And again, it's nothing against the bra itself. I think it just doesn't work for me and my personal preferences because of my body type. It just pulls and adds more tension to your neck. Next up, we have the Wonder Seamless Sports Bra. This is coming in 4 different colors. These are going to be more of your solid, kind of darker seamless colors in this collection. Have a scrunch front design, more of a midline length, but see that fine ribbed material, stretchy but dense. There is no stitch seam or elastic that runs throughout the bottom of this sports bra, so it's not really going to lend a whole lot of lift and support. More so, this band is just going to kind of keep you in place. Back design where it dips down into a V, have good side and under armpit like lat coverage across the straps in front, which I think kind of looks the best, or you can cross them in the back, but then you have a very narrow V opening. The straps material runs along the entire edge of the sports bra. The stitching for the straps is a little robust. I feel like it's not super soft, but it's durable. Adjustable with metal hardware, but they are not removable. It is like cut off, but then there are 2 sewn seams in there, and I think that's to keep these nice and flat and not from fraying. The entire sports bra is doubly lined. It creates the bra shelf lining where you do have a slit on the side, so that way you can remove your bust pads. Underbust is doubly lined, just some very fine, almost seamless looking stitching. It's a little hard to pick up on the camera. Now the dyed Buff Bunny collection emblem, they were bunched and sewn like that to give you the V effect, but that sits really nicely. It's not gonna dig into you or feel uncomfortable. Sports bra from the Vita collection. I feel like this is more of a midline. The length difference from the bottom of the bra shelf line to the very bottom bras is the same. So I think this is gonna have an excellent amount of side coverage for your lats and under your armpits. The rise height for the very center of these is actually going to be the same. This has a straight across back with kind of a U-shape opening. This has more V shape to it. See that there? It's going to be shorter compared to what we see in the Wonder Seamless. So 11 inches wide, but about 1 inch. The top of the neckline all the way to the bottom is about 4.5 inches. Band rise is about 1.5 inches high. About 5.5 inches are not even half an inch. I'm not the biggest fan of the sports bra. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat and be honest with y'all. I didn't get to try the original because I just didn't think it would look very flattering on me and my body type. And I did want to give it a chance, but I think I was right. It's just not really for me. The fabric, there's so much room in the chest area. I do have, you know, square shoulders and a big upper body frame, and I also have a very flat chest profile. My boobs are not perky, so I think that this just doesn't look super nice on me as is. But if I were to wear my hair down, I think it would look a little bit better because you kind of hide the shoulders a little bit, and that detail crossover in the front with a little keyhole just looks really nice. The cut of it going in like a diamond shape is nice, and then that crossover detailing is great. I like that it's not a halter because it goes straight down in the back and it doesn't put any tension on my neck. It does have an excellent amount of boob coverage. Jump test, it is no support, but I definitely have a lot of extra room and like gaping, and that's because again I'm just very flat chested. Under armpit and lat coverage, I think the way that it here and it tapers down the band in the back with a slight V shaped, I think where they fit is an appropriate place. That way it doesn't really dig into your lats and it doesn't look ill-fitting. Here it is from the other side. Darker charcoal color is not going to show sweat, but it is going to dry up sweat pretty easily. Seamless fabric does get like a run in it, almost as if it's a like stocking, so that's something to keep in mind. I definitely think that this is large and small bust friendly. In my personal opinion, I think this is going to look better on someone who has a little bit of a larger bust to just like fill it in a little bit more and give you a little bit of cleavage in the front. So I do think that this is true to size. However, if you were to size down, you would risk this being a lot tighter in the back band. But if you have a smaller like frame, if you're more narrow chested and narrow framed compared to me, I think that this could work for you. So overall, I would have to give this sports bra a 9 out of 10. And the reason why it loses 2 half points for me and my personal preferences is because number one, I just think it has way too much fabric in the front. Again, I am flat chested and I don't have perky boobs, so it just doesn't look flattering on me. And I'm not really in preference for is that the back band, I wish it was just a little bit wider and how it tapers down and then wider here, because on the side I think we could do just a little bit better with the lat coverage. But I think it is a cute sports bra, and if y'all want to try something with a little bit of a sassy design, it's definitely there for you. Just be careful what you exercise and do in this bra. Next up, we have the Double Dip Butter Sports Bra. This is coming in 3 different colors. This is the Honeydew and Tie-Dye combo. Stitch quality where it almost looks seamless from the outside all around the edges, but on the inside the fabric was sewn really nicely. It's nice and smooth, doesn't dig in. Throughout the bottom of the sports bra there is a very small thin elastic band that is sewn in. You can see the elastic band that's inside. It just lends a tiny bit of holding this still rather than moving up and down on you. This does feel different than the other Double Dip Butter sports bras, and in the back deep U-shape double dip design to it as well. This is the double dip sports bra that we saw from the Grounds collection. 1/8 of an inch reduced for the new butter bra. See that the rise height for the front is the exact same for both of them. Putting these together all the way over here, wider than the new one. So that is a fit update. And then for the backs of these, the rise height is about the same as well. So the straps are not the same widths. That wasn't mentioned in the PDF. It's something that I observed. So 2 thicker elastic bands compared to in the older one. And these straps feel a little bit more sturdy, like they will stay up, but I just wish the design team would have mentioned that. So the elastic band goes from here all the way around the strap and stops here. It's funny because in the original bra, there is a much thinner, smaller elastic band strap. I think you can see that this elastic band is thicker than the one that we see here. So that's just what I observed. At about 13 inches, about 14.5 inches wide, about 6 inches, a little bit over an inch for the back rise height, 2 3/4 of an inch. The sports bras feel a little bit not as washed, not as soft as the leggings. Between this green and the blue tie-dye colorway for the sports bras, I can definitely tell you that they feel different. They're not as soft and brushed as, so I think there's a little bit of a discrepancy in the explanation on like washes. So I don't think that this was soft washed as many times or in the same way that this tie-dye was, if you know what I mean. They just feel different. The bra is very minimalistic in its design. I definitely can tell the difference between these straps and the original. These definitely stay more in place and light support and compression. It doesn't really do a whole lot for my shape. I still appear pretty flat and, you know, not shaped in the front. Straps are comfortable and they are stretchy. I think this has an excellent amount of coverage. For the side profile, you have an excellent amount of lat coverage, doesn't dig into the lats, and then back coverage. The very bottom of the band, I do notice it digging in just a tiny bit, and that could be because of the fit discrepancy. So in my close-up, I showed you the difference between this new double dip butter sports bra and the original from the Grounds collection, and the Grounds collection one was almost like half an inch wider. This fits a little bit more true to size, honestly. It doesn't like dig into me too much to where it's annoying and I notice it, but just wanted to point that out. Short line sports bra, so it hits right underneath the bust, no additional fabric to it, and it's not going to show sweat as much because of that tie-dye print design. And I think it's going to dry sweat pretty fast as well because it's not as dense as like new gray fabric or posh knit fabric. In terms of sizing, I would definitely recommend staying true to size because that bottom band does dig in just ever so slightly, and I think if you were to size down, you would have more support and compression. However, the bottom band would dig into your sides just a little bit more, so that's just something to keep in mind. I would not recommend sizing up, and by the way, I don't get any gaping, which is pretty good as well. Overall, I would have to rank this a 9. I just wish it had a little oomph. I wish it had like some side stitching to give you the illusion that you have a rounder bust, or honestly wish that we had a simple butter top like this that was more V. But if it had a V like that, it would look a lot more flattering. And I would prefer a V like this with a simple back like that, because you're getting the coverage, you're getting the lat side coverage, but you're also getting just a little bit of pizzazz in the front. I will take away another half point because the fabric, I know I'm very particular and it doesn't feel the same as the bottoms. So I just wish that it was consistent across the board. I'm very much a fan of this sports bra. I actually wear my Grounds one quite a bit, very light support, but I would highly recommend trying these as like your minimalistic kind of tank top sports bra that you want to wear all the time. Just grab and go. Cute. I wish that we could have this in a deep V version and different prints and colors, or if we even had an ombre, would love that. But yeah, highly recommend. Next up, we have the Butter Bandeau Crop, and this is coming in 5 different colors. The little loops where you can hook in the straps have been reinforced. I'm a little confused because the PDF says that there's no fit updates, but now trying this on for a few reels, it's definitely more comfortable. So I think the tops overall were let out or given about an inch in its width. So that's just what I have observed and what Bailey has discussed in our athlete Discord. So I think that that is a fit update that should have been updated in the PDF. That the stitch quality is super nice. It stretches with the fabric and it is very soft and smooth. You're not going to notice it. On the side, it is invertedly sewn, so you don't see a stitch seam, but on the inside, again, it is very nicely sewn. You're not going to like feel it or notice it. It's an elastic band that was added throughout the entire top of this tank top, and then on the elastic band there is this grip material that was glued onto there to help keep it in place. The neckline is straight across. The back does dip down just a little bit, and then of course you can remove the hook to remove the strap, And I think this stays in pretty well because that gripping material goes up against this, so it's not going to come out. I really love the look of bandeaus, just not exactly on my body type. The straight across, look to it. But with the added straps, I think it adds a little bit of dimension to the design. There is an elastic band at the bottom of the bra shelf line. It just stays in place, but it doesn't like lift or give you any support. So this is like a very minimalistic tube top. Is light compression and support on me because I have a longer torso. This is meeting right at the mid waist. However, I do think if you are a shorter torso girly, this is going to hit a little bit more hip length for you. But again, on me, it fits more mid waist. This updated fit is a lot nicer. Although it was not listed in the PDF, I do think it was let out a little bit, and I can tell the difference because with the original, it was really digging into my chest and into my lats on the side and in my back. All around, it was just a little bit too snug on top. Perhaps being reinforced. I'm tugging on these. I adjusted these. I've been messing around wearing this top for all of the bottom filming, and it definitely is more durable and holding up a lot better. This does have an excellent amount of bust coverage and an excellent amount of lat coverage. Gripping material because it does hold this into place. It doesn't slide on you. The bra shelf liner does go all the way in the back, and I don't notice it. I think the bra shelf liner itself fits pretty well. Any fabric in a lighter color, it's going to show off sweat. But I do think butter fabric is going to dry up sweat pretty quickly compared to more dense fabrics from Buff Bunny collection like Posh Knit or New Gray fabric. In terms of fabric durability, butter fabric does pill. I don't know if you can really see that. But this did pill on me. So just be careful when you're wearing this fabric that you're not doing any exercises where this is going to brush up on anything. With the little bit of more room at the top, for me, I think it fits perfect. If you do have a narrow chest, I still think this is going to fit pretty well on you because the top elastic band with that little grip material makes it tighter at the very top. So I think you should be good, and I would recommend staying true to size. I would not recommend sizing down because that built-in bra shelf lining like elastic band might appear a little bit too tight. I would not recommend sizing up because then you're going to have minimal, even no support for the bust, and I just think it's going to be a little bit too roomy. The fabric is already pretty stretchy, so stay true to size. Overall, I'm going to have to rank this a 9 out of 10, and the reason why it loses 2 half points for me and my personal preferences is because number one, I do wish that the bra shelf line had just a little bit more support. I think the coverage is excellent. If you are flat-chested like me, I just don't think it does anything for our shape. Then the second thing I'm not really in preference for is the way that the gripping material and that elastic band that goes all throughout the top of the bandeau, how it's structured. I wish it was just like a tiny bit wider because if you look, and if I'm pulling this down, you can definitely see that roll down. And I get that a lot in the back for some reason. I would highly recommend trying this out as like a minimalistic, very simple bandeau. You could wear it for upper body days, or you could also wear it for lifestyle. Next up, we have the seamless long sleeve baby tee. This is coming in 3 different colors. The Synergy seamless fabric, so it's the most thin form of seamless fabric from Buff Bunny collection. I wanted to show y'all just how cool it is to see these horizontal lines in the design. And then you see the kind of perforated dots that run all throughout the side of the top and then throughout the bottom part of the sleeve. And I think that adds just a very, very subtle little contouring effect to the top, which is really cool. So the very bottom and then the neckline and the cuffs for the sleeves, these are ribbed material and it's that same Synergy fabric. So I thought that's nice just to have that kind of dynamic in the design. The sleeve stitches here, kind of the back side of this, again, it doesn't have a cutout, like sticks out, so it's kind of embossed. Let me know in the comments if that was in the original. Although it's seamless, there are seams stitched in, so running along the side throughout the whole arm. There is a very fine stitch seam, and it resembles that of the Rosa. Very fine, very thin, you can barely feel it, kind of stitch seam. Where the arm sleeve is attached, that is that very fine stitch seam as well. Stitch seam that's very smooth are invertedly sewn, so sewn inwards, and they are cleanly stitched together at the very end. On the inside, you have that fine stitch detailing, so this isn't going to be uncomfortable. These are pretty dang stretchy. Kind of the difference between the Form Seamless and how the Synergy Seamless appears. So the Form Seamless is pretty just matte, flat, seamless material, and then the Synergy has these lines throughout it, and then obviously the perforated. So stretchy, and then if I stretch this out and show you through the light, you can kind of see how opaque it is. So the baby tee are the same length, and the baby tee has a slight rounded bottom where the Synergy Seamless is straight across at about 13 inches wide, almost 17 inches. Sleeve is going to be about 6 inches. The neckline ribbing is about an inch. Cuffs on the sleeve, about 4 inches. And then the back, 19.5 inches roughly. Cuffs on the sleeve, about 4 inches. And I didn't get to try the original from the Candy Crush collection, but I'm a fan. The high neckline, the ribbing material is not agitating. It is like nice and simple, and because it's so stretchy, you can put it on over your head without disrupting your makeup. Thinner, and it is a little bit sheer, so you can kind of see the print of that tie-dye underneath it. Because I have a longer torso coming in at 19.5 inches, this does hit me at the very smallest of my waist, so at my mid-waist. But I think if you are an average torso or average height girl, even a short girl, this is going to hit a little bit more hip length on you. It's not tight, and I don't even notice it underneath my armpit area. I think that fits pretty well. In the back, nice and simple again. And I did work out in this. I don't feel like the bottom band rolls up or anything. It stays pretty nice. It's definitely going to show sweat, and it's going to dry sweat a lot easier because it's a lighter, thinner material. Seamless material does snag, so you just have to be careful what kind of exercises you're doing in this top. Make sure that you're not brushing it up against anything, and kind of be careful around pets as they might, latch on. In terms of sizing, it is true to size. I would not recommend sizing down because I think if you were to size down, it might be a little bit more tight in the armpit area. You definitely could size up if you don't want something as like slinky looking. I would have to rank this a 9.5 out of 10 because the only thing that I'm not really in preference for is that it's pretty simple. I wish that it did have something that like gave it a little bit more like shading and more contouring look, so that way it would just give the design a little bit more of an illusion that you're curvier. I would highly recommend this top. It's cute. I think it's versatile. You can pop rocks with this tie-dye. It's so cute. I love that you can mix and match a lot of the colors in this collection, so I would highly recommend this top. Next up, we have the Strong short sleeve tee. This is coming in 3 different colors. This is 100% cotton, a unisex relaxed fit, regular like kind of crew neckline. A gradient, so it goes from darker to lighter. And this is the softer cotton. This is not like the Juicy collection or the Grounds collection t-shirts. Since the Grounds collection, all of their t-shirts have been the softer material. The ribbed neckline is super nice and stretchy. You can put it on over your head without disturbing your makeup. This is a wide sleeve relaxed fit. It is slightly longer length compared to the Pulse t-shirt. Alright, this is my t-shirt from the Pulse collection for 3XL because I like my shirts long enough to cover my butt, and extra large. So lining up the neckline of both of these all the way down, we can see that the Pulse collection is only like half an inch longer than the Strong t-shirt collection, and this is a size 3XL folded in half. This is the XL, so very similar in length and feel of the fabric. Next up, we have the Miracle Seamless 6-inch inseam length short. These look a little crazy from the back, and these are coming in 17 different colors or colorway kind of combos. Front is that nice, flat, simple, seamless fabric. It is, again, a 4-way stretch. Waistband is doubly lined. It's just the fabric folded in half and onto itself, which adds a lot of tummy compression and control. The way that the waistband is woven is that it's ribbed material, and then there is a stitch seam that runs along the waistband, and it is a slightly rounded waistband. The side contouring, that ribbed material is going to have a smaller, more fine ribbed material right next to it, closer to the glutes, and then they're going to separate off, and this one is going to expand, and this one, 4-way knitted. It looks like a lattice. The shorts version, it's that smooth, flat, seamless material here. And for the leggings, there is a more fine ribbed material towards the back thigh area. So you can kind of see the difference there. This is just a nice, flat, robust stitch seam for the glutes that it does stretch with you. This has quite a deep V above the glute contour to the back waistband. It will really kind of compress down your back and allow the top of your glutes to have a little shape to them. Dyed Buff Bunny collection emblem. For the bottom of the pant legs, they are pretty stretchy. It's literally the same seamless fabric folded onto itself. And on the inside, it has really nice, simple stitch quality, which is super soft. But you can kind of see a little bit better that ribbed style, and then down here, nice and flat and smooth, seamless. Same stitching that you saw in the glute rise is also going to be what you see inseam pant leg. Robust, it's not super smooth, can also be seen throughout the waistband. But I will say when I have this on, because it does have such a good amount of stretch to it, stretches pretty well with you. The Unbreakable collection is just a tiny bit wider. So I think the waistband was taken in by maybe a quarter or half an inch, but then the team maybe didn't mention it in their PDF. Just wanted to point that out from what I observed. These are both a size large. From the bottom of the crotch gusset all the way to the top, we can see that the Unbreakable collection rise height was just a little bit higher, probably about an inch. But this definitely does feel lighter compared to this. This feels thicker for sure. So you can kind of see the color of my skin through it. And if I stretch it out, you can kind of see it's a little harder to pick up on camera with the lighter color, but trust me, it's the same thickness in the glute area as it is for the Unbreakable collection one. The waistband height is going to be the same for both in the front, and then the waistband height for the back rise is going to be the same as well. All right, so next up we have the Miracle Seamless Legging as the shorts. So if you want to skip back to the shorts and go over all those details, go for it. This is just going to be a super general comparisons coming in at 27 or 26 inch inseam length. The difference I want to point out with the leggings compared to the shorts is that the under glute and thigh compression is different. The back of the thigh is nice and simple and flat. The leggings, you have the micro ribbed design all the way to about the middle of the pant leg, so the back of your knees, kind of compress and smooth out your cellulite in the back of your thighs. So measurements and everything are the same. I did it off camera, so I will try these on. These are a little tough to get on, so I would highly recommend like sitting down and putting your foot through and like slowly working your way up, kind of like putting on stockings. I think is really good advice for anyone who's never tried Miracle Seamless leggings before. So these are fitting ultra high rise. You can pull them down a little bit or roll them down to a preference. These have really great tummy control and compression. So if you look on the side, I'm definitely held in pretty decently. These give you a little bit of camel toe, but I'll explain why the fabric is bunching here in a second. Of course, the booty looks super good, even with having bikini style underwear on and a regular stitch seam, not an aggressive scrunch, like glute elastic bottom. These definitely fit still pretty good and make the butt look super nice because of all of that contouring on the side that helps shape the side of the butt. Under glute contouring, again, is 20% stronger, so it really just digs in to the back of your thigh and helps shape the booty. Then you also have micro, like even smaller ribbing going down the thigh to help compress down and kind of camouflage your cellulite. But it also creates a lot of tension in the front. This fabric is bunched up like this, and I did experience this after wearing my Unbreakable collection leggings quite a bit, but that's a little annoying because the best way I can describe this is that it kind of feels like I'm wearing Spanx, and when your Spanx roll up in this crevice, if they don't have like the gripping material on the thighs, this is what it reminds me of. So this is a little bit annoying because you can see it, and if you roll it up, I think it just accentuates that area even more. I think if you have a really lean body type, you wouldn't have that issue as much, but if you're thicker like me, and it's a little harder to kind of situate that around. And then from the top, I think the waistband really just like sits compressively at the lower of your back, and it accentuates the curve of your butt. In terms of fabric durability, these are okay. I did have the Miracle Seamless bodysuit back in the Juicy collection last year, and that snagged and it ended up ripping all the way up my glutes. So, you know, seamless material can snag, so just be careful with that. But I will say, in squatting in these feel like the stitch seam in the glute area stay pretty well, but in the inner thigh area, the stitching does seem to be pretty durable and robust. It's going to show sweat pretty easily. It does dry sweat fairly. Sizing, I do think that these are true to size. I would not recommend sizing down because the waistband does have a medium to high compression and support because it does have that nice bit of like tummy control. I would not recommend sizing up because you're going to have even more fabric bunching in the crotch area. Overall, I'm going to have to rank these maybe like an. And the reason why this loses some half points for me and my personal preferences is because, you know, I'm not very lean, and I do feel like the waistband rolls down pretty easily, even like in the back. To be honest, I think all seamless from Buff Bunny collection does do that to me. Number two, I really don't like all of that bunching that's happening in the crotch area. That does happen just a little bit in the shorts, but I think with the leggings, because there's a lot more fabric, it really, you know, you see it a lot more apparent. Number three, they are pretty opaque. Number four, I definitely don't feel the like thigh and underglute area sliding down as much as the Unbreakable Miracle Seamless of the last version. However, these are sliding down on me a little bit because I don't have a lean body type. I have pretty like thick thighs. And so as you're walking and, you know, jiggling, moving and grooving, these are going to slide down a little bit. And then the last thing I'm not really a preference for is that I do wish the waistband came down just a little bit more, because I do carry, you know, lower belly weight there, and I just wish if it was down a little bit further, you would get even more tummy compression and support, you know what I mean? I have to explain slash vent for a second, because this collection is really nice. I love the colors and I love the look of everything, but I think the functionality for me personally as a power lifter, for the intense movements that I do, lots of shaking, lifting lots of heavy loads, and I need fabrics that are more durable, compressive, and, you know, I just 100% trust in them and whatever. I do feel like when I'm wearing the seamless bottoms, part of me is so scared of it snagging and like running up like a pair of stockings, and that did happen to me with the Miracle Seamless bodysuit from last year, the Juicy collection. So I think that the pillar for strength really needs to incorporate at least one or two Elysium, Posh Knit, Newbury fabric, because those are a lot more dense and durable. I get it that those would be great for runners, but as a power lifter, I think, you know, it's okay to cross-reference different fabrics for each pillar, if that makes sense. I do recommend the Miracle Seamless if you really want a legging that makes you feel spicy, that, you know, really accentuates the booty and sculpts it and just makes the shape perfect. I think Bailey and the design team really did their thing with these leggings. So it's just something to keep in mind, the fabrics, what they're intended for, and, you know, what functionality are you going to use them for. Next up, we have the Aggressive Scrunch 7-inch inseam length short. This is coming in 5 different colors or tie-dye prints options, and definitely thick thigh friendly, because the way that the stitching is for the pant legs is so stretchy, and it is a little bit robust, but trust me, you actually don't feel it or notice it. That same stitch quality for the pant leg is what you also see, but a little bit doubly enforced for the inner thigh area. On the outer side of the shorts, we do see a very fine and soft stitch seam that is similar to the Rosa design style. The waistband, no front rise seam, double crotch gusset. Back, we have a deep V above the glute contour, and aggressive scrunch with an elastic band glute rise. So it looks like this, but once you stretch it out, you're going to fill it in. You're not going to see any of that. All throughout the waistband, the fabric is doubly lined, no top of the waistband stitch seam, so it's not going to dig into you, but because this is doubly lined, it just adds a tiny bit of compression and support to your tummy. There is a wide, flat elastic band that is added in here, and that's just going to situate between your glutes and enhance the look of your glutes. I don't know if it's just me, but the elastic band that's in the new Aggressive Scrunch bottoms doesn't seem as thick as it did in prior launches. Thin that elastic band is, and how it curls up on the sides, I just feel like that's a telling sign that this elastic band is a little bit thinner than this one. And at about 7-inch inseam length, about 10 inches. Width is coming in at about 9 inches, 10.5 inches. And something to keep in mind is that tie-dye prints are really hard to replicate exactly. So I have seen some exclusive athletes and affiliates with tie-dye that doesn't look like as many ties. It's very the light base color and not a whole lot of little knots, if you know what I mean. And then some like mine, where I feel like it's pretty well done, you can see it all over. So there is a little variability with the tie-dye print for customers' knowledge, just so y'all know. On me personally, because I have a longer torso, these do hit high rise, but I can pull them up because butter fabric is so stretchy and a little bit thinner and lighter weight compared to Newbury fabric. However, I am getting a little bit of camel toe in front, but because these are a tie-dye print, you're not going to see that as much. The tie-dye print is really great at concealing cellulite. I have some pretty thick cellulite on this side, but I think that it's camouflaged pretty well. It doesn't have really any tummy control, so if you see that there, I don't really have any compression on that side. And it's not as booty lifting as like the Miracle leggings, but I still think it sits nicely on the skin and can accentuate. I deadlifted with these shorts on, and I have a suede weightlifting belt, and I washed these, but the suede rubbing off on the fabric didn't come out, so I'm like so sad. You can see there's like a black mark on the back, and it makes me sad. So just be careful what you're wearing butter fabric items for. The fabric is not super durable. It can pill, so just kind of be careful when you're wearing these. These are definitely thick thigh friendly. But overall, I'm going to have to give the shorts a 9 out of 10. The two things I'm not really a preference for is that the rise on me, because I have a longer torso, is just not as ultra high res as I would personally prefer. Other half point that is reduced for these is that I get the short version or the short length because I really don't like when my pants hang off the bottom of my shoe and like get dirty and whatnot. So these are the short version in a size large. Naturally on me, I think these are hitting more high rise where I do have a longer torso. But if I were to pull these up just a little bit, I could make these ultra high rise. But when I do pull them up, I am getting just a little bit of camel toe. It's a little harder to see with a tie-dye, which is great because I think the tie-dye can be kind of concealing and camouflaging cellulite and camel toe, but just kind of keep that in mind if you're a taller girl. And if you pull these up, there isn't any tummy control for these leggings, so you do kind of see that there. On this thigh, I have like thicker cellulite, and I think that it's concealed fairly well. Butter fabric does pill, so just be mindful of what kind of exercises you're performing in butter fabric pieces. These are going to be great for concealing sweat because it's a print, so it's going to be a lot harder to see it, especially in the back. These definitely dry sweat pretty quickly because it's a second skin like feel, lightweight, kind of cool to the touch fabric. There's a little bit of rolling down, but nothing to the point where I'm annoyed because the fabric is so like thin and stretchy and soft and butter-like feel that I don't really notice it too much when they roll down. In terms of sizing, these are definitely true to size. I would not recommend sizing up because the fabric is so stretchy and buttery soft. And I would not recommend sizing down because if you were to size down, you would end up making these appear a lot more sheer. These do make the butt look pretty good. They're not going to be like the Miracle leggings where they really lift you up, but I think the aggressive scrunch does help in the shaping and separation of the glutes. So even though I have bikini style dark print underwear on, I still think that these are pretty flattering. Overall, I'm going to have to rank these a 9 out of 10, and the reason why these lose 2 half points for me and my personal preferences is because, number one, I do wish that they came up just a little bit higher because I keep wanting to pull them up, but then I'm feeling the camel toe area. That's also just because I have a longer torso, so there's a little bit more real estate to cover. And then number two, I just wish that the flare came up a little bit higher, but I'm just being super picky. Other than that, those are the only two things that I'm not really a preference for. I think this item is exactly as described, being buttery soft, lightweight fabric. Tie-dye prints were really popular several years ago, but seeing them come back, you know, I wasn't really a preference for them, but as I tried on the blue set, so the matching double dip butter sports bra, I was like, this is kind of giving festival vibes, like, and dancey, you know, so I think they're just really fun, and I would highly recommend trying them out. And for honorary mentions or items that I choose not to receive in my PR package, there are some fit updates to the items. So if you are to go to the Buff Bunny Collection Instagram page, you can go to their community broadcast channel and you can see screenshots or the PDF link itself. So that way you can see all the different fit updates as you see fit. I figured that I'm going to stop explaining so much about the honorary mentions and different items that I chose not to receive in my PR because it just saves me time and it's less that I have to edit. So favorite items from this entire collection. I have to say that the Synergy fabric long sleeve seamless shirts are my favorite because I've been waiting for a nice long sleeve full coverage shirt from Buff Bunny Collection. It's lightweight, it dries the sweat pretty fast, it clings to you pretty nicely. My second favorite item from this entire collection, although sheer, I do have to say is the Miracle Seamless shorts because they really make the booty pop. And I'm very shy about showing off my butt, actually. I just don't want any unwarranted attention. However, they make me feel really confident and they make me feel good in my skin and with a little bit of assistance and help. I have to say that my least favorite item or items from this entire collection are all of the seamless sports bras. So seamless sports bras for Buff Bunny Collection just are not there for me. I think there's either one or two things with each bra that I'm just not in favor for. And with my like wide upper body frame, flat chest profile, I think it's kind of hard to get everything down and tucked in right and looking, you know, accentuated and very good, except for the Vita Collection Seamless Sports Bra. That sports bra, and I'm actually wearing it under this, is my favorite seamless sports bra from Buff Bunny Collection. So I'm hoping we can see the return of that one in different colors as well. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching this review video. It's my first in like 3 months. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below, and I really appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you for helping me grow with the company and being patient with me as I was just navigating some personal things. And yeah, I will see y'all next time.